What's up guys, it's Aviation Vids here, and I'm back with another video, and today's video, I'm gonna go over what liveries I'd like to see in Infinite Flight added for the military aircraft. Starting off with one of my personal favorites from the 64th Aggressor Squadron for the F-16s, the Wraith color scheme. Next up, we have the Flanker color scheme, which is a pretty cool color scheme I'd like to see added for the F-16s. For the F-16 and Infinite Flight, yes. Next up, we have the Desert Camo, which is a pretty cool looking camo on an F-16. Not as cool as the Wraith, in my opinion, but I'd like to see this added as well. Next up, we have the Lizard Camo, which I never knew this was the Lizard Camo till now. I thought this was like Desert Camo version 2 or something like that, if you know what I mean. It looks nice and everything. Overall, I'd like to see this added as well. Next up, Arctic Camo for the F-16. Now, up at Alaska, they have these mainly in Alaska at Elmendorf-Richardson Air Force Base. The 64th Aggressor Squadron, I think, has a couple still. I'm not sure, but I know they have this color scheme up in Alaska. Next up, oh, it's a helicopter in the background. We have the 64th Aggressor Squadron's Ghost livery, or Ghost color scheme. Now, I do like this. I love this one too, along with the Wraith color scheme. I just don't mind that Robinson R44 or whatever helicopter that's going by in the background. It's supposed to resemble the sorry if I'm clearing my throat so much, but it's supposed to resemble the Su-57. Next up, Blizzard Camo. Now, Blizzard Camo is really cool for the F-16. It's kind of got like that snow vibes, if you want to say it. I don't know how to best put it, but they have these mainly up at Elmendorf-Richardson now, I think, because they still have, like, I want to say 1 or 2 over down at Nellis. I just gotta check up on that. Next up, the Shark livery, or Shark paint scheme. I mean, yeah, see, I get confused between military and commercial aviation paint schemes sometimes. Like, I know all the cool special painted aircraft in the military have paint schemes, and special painted commercial aircraft have liveries, so sorry if I, like, get, mixed up here and there with those. But this is supposed to resemble another Sukhoi aircraft. I'm not sure which one, but overall, this looks like a good color aircraft. Next up, another one of my favorites, the Splinter paint scheme. Now, the Splinter paint scheme is one of the by far coolest paint schemes out of Nellis. On their F-16s. I've yet to see one because I do plan, and I mean do plan, on going to Nellis Air Force Base for a Red Flag event sometime next year, or I might go to their air show that they have coming up this year. Now, on to some F-15s. Here we have a F-15E Strike Eagle, which I'd also like to see added into Infinite Flight, from the 336 fighter wing of the 391st Fighter Squadron out of Mountain Home Air Force Base in their Tiger Meat paint scheme, which overall looks pretty amazing. And I know in the future Infinite Flight may add these, but I'm not sure this is what I would like to see. And maybe I'd also like to see some, like, foreign military aircraft with, like, their Tiger Meat paint schemes on there, too. But that'll be, like, a different video. Next up, from the 56th Aggressor Squadron, we have an F-15C Eagle from the 56th Aggressor Squadron. Now they have F-35s, I believe, because, well, actually they got deactivated, and then I believe they're getting reactivated with F-35s, because they used to have the F-15s. In the desert camo paint scheme. And next up, we have the 65th Aggressor Squadron F-15C Eagle in the Arctic Blue paint scheme, which is another cool variation of the desert camo paint scheme. But, yeah, that's a couple of the other paint schemes I'd like to see. Next up, here we have an F-15C Eagle out of the California Air National Guard, or the Fresno Air National Guard, because they're based in Fresno, California, with their desert camo paint scheme. I'd like to see this added into Infinite Flight, of course, because it's just my preference. I mean, all of you probably have your different preferences, and I respect that. Like, you could go ahead, comment on here, see what, and tell me, like, what you guys want to see, because I'm all for that, and I'm all, like, up for that. So, here's one cool paint scheme from the Fresno Air National Guard. Here's one of their just regular, normal-looking painted F-15s. And that's pretty much it for the Air Force side. On to the Navy. For the F-18, because in Infinite Flight, they have the call signs and everything for the F-18. I will do like a showcase on all the different Navy and military call signs that they have in there. But a couple CAG aircraft, or colored aircraft that I'd like to see are VFA 154 Black Knights, VFA 103 Jolly Rogers with their kind of like ghost paint scheme. Yeah, their ghost paint scheme with just a tail painted. Now, overall, like the Jolly Rogers are like my favorite fighter squadron, because they're based here on the East Coast. Cool. They have really cool paint schemes. Like, if you look back at their like F-14 Tomcats, F-4 Phantoms. Yes, I'm a big military aircraft enthusiast. But yeah, I'd like to see that. And their fully painted one with the yellow and black for the F-18. Next up, VFA 41 Black Aces. I'd like to see this added because they are working on the FA-18F Super Hornet, because a lot of people, like, and I mean a lot of people, including myself, requested, like, hey, we love the F-18, just a regular F-18, but we think you guys should, like, update and upgrade it to make it the FA-18 Super Hornet. I don't know if they're going to make it dual cockpit or just a single cockpit like most of the F-18s are. But this is another CAG I'd like to see. And now, next one is VFA 211, the Fighting Checkmates. It's a nice paint scheme. This is another paint scheme I'd like to see added into Infinite Flight for the FA-18 Super Hornet, as well as the Blue Angels paint scheme. And I don't know, I don't think I mentioned it earlier with the F-16s, because I believe I did not. I'd also like to see them add the Thunderbirds paint scheme into Infinite Flight, because the Thunderbirds have a nice wide variety of paint scheme colors for their aircraft. But the other reason why I mentioned the Blue Angels is because they do have like the call signs in there. They have the Blue Angel call signs in there. And they have a Blue Angel paint scheme in there, but that's only for the C-130, which I do like seeing that on a C-130 in Infinite Flight. Next up, we have VFA 81 Sunliners. Now, I'd like to see this one added to Infinite Flight as well. Like, what I'm doing is I'm not going over all like the military aircraft paint schemes that there are that I would want to see added into Infinite Flight. I'm just going over the ones that I like and would want to see added into Infinite Flight if they could possibly do it. Next up, we have VFA 192 Golden Dragons. Love the color on the tail overall, and this is another cool color scheme I'd like to see added into Infinite Flight. Next up, VFA 11 Red Rippers. Now, another, and a personal favorite of mine, too, along with the VFA 103 Jolly Rogers paint scheme, VFA 2 Bounty Hunters. Next up, for legacy or Vietnam era aircraft, I'd like to see would be some F4 Phantoms. So you got your like Vietnam era camo, F4C Phantom 2. This one happens to be flown by Colonel Robin Olds, a triple ace. The White Knights F4 Phantom 2. Oh my god, I nearly got this confused with an F14. Wow, because they do have the same like number in there, but one of them has a 1 in front of the 4. And this was based out of Moody Air Force Base in Georgia. Next up, the F4C Phantom 2 Black Knights with the checkerboard paint scheme on the back there, which I believe these guys are based out of a naval air station, I want to say. Yeah, they're based in Iceland. And based over in the Netherlands, the Wolfhounds paint scheme. Next up, we're going to A-10s. Now, this one is my personal favorite because this is my home state's Air National Guard. Sadly, they retired these guys back in like 2009 in favor of becoming the 103rd Airlift Wing, part of the 118th Airlift Squadron. They used to be the 103rd Fighter Wing. They flew so many, like, a wide variety of aircraft. I could go on and on about it, but that's going to be in, like, a separate video. But here we have the Connecticut Air National Guard's painted A-10, which, of course, when I was younger, I've actually seen this bird fly, and it is so cool to see. And little did I know to myself, I was like, why do we have a fighter squadron? And I never knew why until I found out why. I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. But enough about that. On to the next one. From Eglin Air Force Base, we have the Flying Tigers paint scheme A-10, which is pretty cool. Hence the name Cool Cats. I think they have another painted one, or actually Moody does, but their tail is painted. Next up, we have the Michigan Air National Guard, their 100th anniversary painted A-10 for the 107th Fighter Squadron out of the 127th Fighter Wing. This, I believe, is supposed to be like a P-47 paint scheme, because half the squadrons that I believe flew Thunderbolts back in, World War II era and stuff like that got these guys, and they thought, what a nice way to honor our heritage of flying P-47s and paint a A-10. Next up, we have the Maryland Air National Guard. This A-10 is based out of Warfield Air National Guard Base. I don't know why it's named Warfield, but it's a pretty cool name. This is an homage to, I don't know what aircraft it's supposed to be based off of. If you guys want to tell me in the comments, go ahead. I'm all ears. And that's it for all the paint schemes that I would like to personally see in Infinite Flight for like the fighters and everything. I know they have two paint schemes for the A-10s. One from Elmendorf Richardson and another one that's just like plain Arctic camo. If we hop into Infinite Flight right now, I can actually show you guys. I know this video is running a little longer than usual. I just want to make sure, yeah, it's still recording. Okay, good. But yeah, I could show you guys right now. If we go here, and take a look here. Oh, my bad, it's Ellison that has the paint scheme. Yes, this is theirs, and here's the Arctic camo. So, there you guys have it. And I think Nellis had a painted A-10. I'm not sure. But, yeah, Moody's A-10 has a painted tail. And that's pretty much it for the stuff I would like to see. See you in the next video.